Hey everyone, welcome to Talking Bumps. I am Ezra. I'm here with my good friend Chris for our second episode of Talking
Bumps. The hottest new pro wrestling podcast on YouTube. Not really. We're getting there. Slow climb. Right now we're trying to go for the TV title. I'm gonna let him start this week because I started last week.
Okay. So, start about like the overall episode of Raw and what angles they're doing and kind of the direction. I'm gonna be starting by saying I'm a little disappointed on how they treated Walter, the UK champion of NXT, UK NXT champion, and how they kind of like just beat him. And like what I thought was really cool at the beginning of this angle of NXT invading WWE is that you had NXT top guys beating guys from the WWE. Now, Walter didn't have to beat like a top guy, but I think he should win. He should show up and become this unbeatable monster.
Exactly. You know, you're in the UK, and you want to put the UK guy over.
Yep.
I'm sorry. It's the same thing with Bret Hart in Canada, or you know, let's say if a big WrestleMania was in Massachusetts. And you had John Cena going for the world title this 17th time. I don't care how tired you are of John Cena. You put him over because it's his hometown. You want them to feel good. You want him to feel good. Everybody goes home happy. I didn't agree with that.
Do you feel like they didn't put him over to make WWE superstars look stronger, or what are they thinking by like doing that?
They are giving Seth Rollins the Roman Reigns treatment. Roman Reigns was the guy that was shoved down our throats for several months. Now it's Seth Rollins.
Yep.
And I'm not saying Seth is not a talented in-ring performer, because he is. You go back and look at his stuff from like Ring of Honor back when he was Tyler Black, and other things. Even earlier, Seth Rollins. I just think that the fans are souring on him, and they need to do something quickly. They need to give him they need to make his heel turn less slow. I know I spoke about this last week with the slow burn heel turn, but it doesn't need to be slow anymore if they want to save his likability of a character in the long term.
I would disagree a little bit with that. I think if you keep making it seem like you're forcing him down our throats a little bit, that it will naturally build the heat and the heel heat that he will need for when he switches over. But I would like to think that WWE knows what they're doing more. Like, they obviously know more than what I know what to do with it, but I'm just reacting to what they are doing so far, and it's not entertaining when you have Seth Rollins, who is an amazing competitor, goes out there with Walter and beats him in a UK audience. If I was from the UK, if I was in that audience, and I see someone that I'm rooting for in not necessarily independent wrestling company in the NXT UK, but it is like a fringe wrestling community.
Yes.
And then you see that person in your community who you've been rooting for, and like it's like an independent band that you found, and you're like, man, this band's so good, and no one knows about them, and you're just rooting for them.
Right.
And then they get a big time push, and then the headliners totally like say they sucked and they're not good. You would hate the headliner. You would hate whoever like talked down on them.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with like Seth. I bet Seth was like, say, let's put Walter in this match. He's awesome. I really want to wrestle against him. But Walter should have went over, or at least like, yeah, he should have went over. There's no, I don't know. It doesn't seem to make sense.
Or ended in a no contest.
I'm tired of the no contest endings. I feel like you can lose a match without losing your steam. But yeah, I mean, 50-50 booking and no contest winnings have made wrestling kind of like, I don't know, but not necessarily boring, but just like, well, that was pointless.
Now, forgive me because I'm not too familiar with NXT UK. Wow, I almost said NXT 2K, which we will be playing on Talking Lumps, which will be Taking Lumps, which we'll be filming after this. Is NXT UK considered the developmental?
So, the way I saw it was NXT UK is not a developmental, but it's like what NXT has been for like the last couple of years, where it's just been this kind of online wrestling show that's like a bonus treat, plus they're building their own like rabid following in Kurgan Hall where they like produce it.
Yeah.
So, and on top of that, someone had pointed out this to me a couple days ago. This is the 50th week. 50th week. So, about a year. It's about a year from when Pete Dunne had said, don't worry, British wrestling is not dying, how it's still strong. Because at the time, WWE had started NXT UK, and they had bought all the, like, NXT UK wrestlers, and, like, basically took all the best British wrestlers in Britain and, like, put them under their umbrella. And now what do you have? Most of the British wrestling community that was there, wrestling programs, they're all gone. Almost all of them are gone. 4 of them have already closed up, and you don't hear about them as much as you used to 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, where you would like see clips of these UK wrestlers coming out on YouTube and just being in awe of them.
I was just about to say, it's a shame that you say that because the UK used to be such a hotbed for professional wrestling. Overseas in general is a hotbed for professional wrestling. They love that stuff in the UK and Japan. I'm not sure about the European scene or what have you, but I know in the UK and Japan, pro wrestling is life.
Yep.
Now going over really quick to AEW Dynamite. Dynamite. Unfortunately, I didn't get to watch this week. You did.
I did.
You did.
Yeah. So AEW this week. This is on the Tales of Full Gear that happened on Saturday.
Yes.
And the show itself, once again, Cody Rhodes segment. Cody Rhodes versus Chris Jericho and now MJF is probably the best story in wrestling right now, I think.
MJF, a.k.a. Ms. Light.
Yeah, do you think he's light or he's
or next?
I think he's... So Dave Meltzer said that he was like the next or this era's Roddy Piper, and I used to argue that Miz was the best heel for years and years because he's like naturally able to just piss everyone off.
Okay, I'm about to alienate half the pro wrestling community right now. You said Dave Meltzer. Credibility went from here to here. Dave Meltzer to me is nothing but a tabloid pusher. Okay. There are plenty of other sources out there that I get my wrestling news from. I think I think it's rather than calling MJF Ms. Light, I'm gonna say Ms. Next.
Okay.
Because Miz is still having a full head of steam. That guy shows no signs of stopping.
No. If you look at his wrestling, in the ring wrestling, he doesn't take that many risks. And even like when he was still doing like the chick magnet stuff with John Morrison, and a little bit right before that, he would have matches against Matt Hardy, Mr. Kennedy, and a couple other guys, which I would say, like, these are really good matches. He's putting on some very good matches right now. They're entertaining. And not much has changed, and he can still put on really good matches.
I don't know how familiar you are with wrestling YouTubers, but I remember watching MJF on a little thing called GTS Wrestling. You might know that as Grimm's toy show. They run like a little backyard wrestling thing. And it's amazing to see guys that got their start on YouTube now getting their big chance to make a big, for lack of a better word, impact. Sorry, TNA, we're not talking about you. Making a big impact on big shows now.
Yes.
I
mean, you look at even the Bucks started. I mean, the Bucks and Hardys started their own promotions to basically just to wrestle, and then they went from like basically backyard no ones to at some point the hottest and biggest things in wrestling.
Matt and Jeff used to talk about wrestling in fairs.
Yeah, I mean, fair wrestling is still. I go to like a couple fairs during the summer, and they put on wrestling shows, and they're a ton of fun. Tons of fun to like go see like people that some people will never get a shot, unfortunately. Some people will, just stay in this little indie fed that they have running for the fairs and like wherever they're from. But it's a really good. I'm blanking on the name I see, but there's this one group that wrestles at the Middlesex County fair every year, and they put on a 3-day show. And if you go from day 1 to day 3, it is well worth it.
Yeah. I for one, I wish I could say I saw the MJF heel turn coming.
You didn't see it coming?
I kind of didn't see it coming.
I didn't expect it. He is. I guess at the point he was an anti-hero. Like, he was a hero not by choice. He was just helping out Cody Rhodes, but not really for like any reason other than Cody Rhodes is my mentor. But did you watch Full Gear by any chance?
I was not gonna pay $50 to watch Full Gear unless somebody I knew that had a Bleacher Report live account that I could watch for at least an hour. So it's hard for me to pay $50 to watch a wrestling event. I always try and find it later and watch it after that. I'm kind of hoping that MJF does not go into the Inner Circle, and the Inner Circle becomes like the NWO Hollywood, where everyone joins.
So you don't have to worry about that so much because of what happened on Dynamite. But real quick on what happened at AEW when MJF switched against Cody, it was like a very slow build-up to it in that segment where he throws in the towel, the match gets called off, you see Chris Jericho going back, you see MJF go in there, check on Cody, Cody's trying to get back, and MJF's just like really pleading on like, hey, I'm sorry, it's just that like you're there, and then like you see Cody and you're like, is he going to hit him or not? And then Cody looks at him, I understand, you're right, pats him on the shoulder, and it's a slow like, alright. I mean, it sucks that he threw in the towel, but Cody gets it and it's understood. And then, like, at that moment of Cody saying, I forgive you, it's all right, that's when MJF kicks him in the nuts. And it's like, oh, you're such a jerk. And then, like, he walks off the stage, and then a fan throws, like, a soda at him. and like he just plays it off like whatever, and just walks away.
MJF pulled a Johnny Cage then, kicking somebody in the nuts.
Yeah. And then on AEW, they did this amazing segment of him and Chris Jericho, and him saying, "It sounds like you want me in the inner circle." And then Chris Jericho said, "It sounds like you want to be in the inner circle." And they just go back and forth like that for a while, and then they both do the thing of, on 3, let's say the biggest jerk here, Cody Rhodes, and then they hug. But it's like obvious that he's not in the inner circle, he's doing his own thing, and now he has this like enforcer that's going to help him do it.
I like I just said, I just hope they don't end up giving the inner circle the NWO treatment in the long term, because once everybody starts joining, you're just like, well, this is not an inner circle now, it's pretty much a equator.
Yep.
While I'm on the subject of AEW, this is going to segue into the next topic.
Okay.
One of the wrestling YouTube content creators I watch, WrestleMania, reported that CM Punk turned down a big AEW payday.
So I heard similar, and the way it goes is that Tony Khan had offered CM Punk a lot of money to be on AEW show. I'm not sure if that was like a wrestling or just commentating or what have you, but CM Punk basically turned it down. So that means that whatever Fox had offered him to be on that Fox WWE show has to be a lot.
Oh yes, nice segue. Because about a week after that news article came out that I just told you about, we see CM Punk returning on WWE Backstage.
Yep.
Now, we had this conversation before we got onto the air. I don't know what capacity he's going to be in the WWE doing, but I know there are a lot of people, including myself, that want to see him go one more time.
All right, so CM Punk, it's very biased for me because CM Punk growing for most of my high school through college was bona fide my favorite wrestler to watch, to try to go see live, to everything. And I've had now gotten to talk to him about close to 3 times. I don't want to count really one of them.
You got to speak to the man.
I got to, very, very slow in passing, like, "Hi, Mr. Punk, really big fan," and walked away. Because that's how he says he wants to interact with Peter Boom. And yeah, he's a really big asshole. A big one. The only problem, and that's like, I think the only thing I don't like about him, like, if I met Kofi Kingston would, I don't want to say song and dance, because that's really bad, but Kofi Kingston would be more friendlier. CM Punk, there's not 1 ounce of, like, I'm going to pretend, I'm a jerk, I'm an asshole, I'm going to act how I am. You can either respect me, and I will show you how I feel at the moment, like a human being does, or I'll treat you very rude. Which I kind of like, because that's who he is as a person, and that's who his wrestler character is. I do not think he's ever going to wrestle again.
There is a small part of me, little 12-year-old me, jumping around in there. I wish I could draw a little diagram so you guys can see him jumping up and down on the screen. That wants to see him as a surprise entrant in the Royal Rumble.
That would be cool. I don't think it's gonna happen.
I want to see him.
That would be really cool.
I want to see him as a surprise entrant. One of my friends seems to think he's going to win and face the Fiend at Mania. I said that's a dream. That's a dream. In a perfect world, that's what would happen.
We still have Money in the Bank, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania. Like, way to go from there. A long way to go from there. But I cannot even see a way where CM Punk would come back, because he's still. I don't even think he still really has talked to Vince McMahon or Triple H. I think he's just went like all the other directions around getting this position, and Fox has been in control of it, and he has nothing to do with Triple H or Vince McMahon.
I don't know about that, but what I will say is, it would be cool to see him in the ring at least one more time.
Yeah, and I would love to get Punk one more time in a match. Him feeling healthy now. He is 40, but I bet he could go. Like, the man trains really hard. The man was preparing for a UFC fight for the last, 6 years, basically, even when he was still with the company. He was still training as a UFC fighter, but, I can imagine him getting into a ring, and he's a story creator. He can make an amazing story match happen out of nowhere.
Look, any man that works for Marvel during his off season has my vote. CM Punk wrote a couple of Thor stories, and I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
I haven't read them, but I want to.
You haven't read them at all?
No.
All right. I think my friend, I might be able to get them back to let you borrow them. I let someone else borrow, but I could probably get them back for you.
I haven't read them. I do want to read them so I can see where his writing chops are. Okay, so we know that Cody can challenge for the AEW World Title.
Yes.
But he mentioned something on Twitter that he wants to create a secondary singles belt.
So, how do you feel about that? I think what's cool about AEW is that they're kind of breaking the norm of why do we have a secondary title belt? Like the North American Championship in NXT, I thought, alright, this is super cool, but it can only be, I guess, defended in North America, or maybe this is a title that's defended every single week. But if we have a second title, what's the point other than to have someone hold up a shiny piece of metal?
For the first time ever on this show, granted we've only been doing it for 2 weeks, we disagree on something.
Okay.
I believe that we should have a television title. A title that only changes hands on television. Because I believe when you have a title that can change hands on television, you add a certain level of excitement to matches. And people will be more enticed to watch. When I watch WWE these days and I see that there's a world title in the main event, I say, oh, okay. It's going to end in a no contest.
Yeah.
But with a television belt, anything can happen.
So here's my argument against that. If you look at the U.S. title and the Intercontinental title right now, first, hate to say this, I only know the U.S. title is right now owned by, it's not even the U.S. The Intercontinental title is Shinsuke Nakamura. And the only reason I know that is because of Shinsuke and Sami Zayn. I can't tell you really who has the U.S. title right now. Right off the top of my head, I thought it was Ricochet, but then he lost it. I can't tell you who has it, and the reason why I can't tell you is I don't care. I haven't cared about the U.S. title since, I guess, Cena was doing his Cena Open Challenge.
The Open Challenge.
The Open Challenge, which you might hate Cena, which I don't, but
I don't hate Cena.
No.
I think his work ethic makes me hate him less.
Yes. Oh, 100. He works harder than anyone. I dislike how, I want to say, if you look at Miz comes off very annoying, but kind of annoying because he's so fake. And you're like, oh, is this you? Is this the real you, or is this a fake person? John Cena pretends that he's real, and that's very fake. Like, I only see the real John Cena when he, like, is very meeting, like, people, like, Make-A-Wish Foundation. When you see the videos of him doing that, it really feels like that's John Cena. Like, he's a good person.
Yeah.
But, like, when he's, like, doing a character, when he's, like, doing stuff, I'm like, is this the real John Cena? No, this is a character. I don't know who you are.
The only thing I don't like about Cena is his hair.
The military crew
no, the dad hair he's got now. Give me the military cut back. I'll be all right.
Kind of looks like early AJ Styles with the bang.
I just want a title for television that you're gonna turn the TV on and you're gonna say, oh, the TV title's on the line. I wonder who's gonna get it.
Yeah.
Because like I said, when you turn on WWE and you see that there's a big main event, a big title match, 9 times out of 10 it's gonna end in a no contest. And just like you said, you're tired of the no contest rule. I'm tired of the no contest rule. I miss when big titles were won and lost on television.
So I would say if they make a television title, there's 3 rules I would like them to follow by as of right now. 1, it has to have only be a TV title, as in no pay-per-view championship for it. I think that would make it very, very cool. I think that would make it like very interesting that you don't put it on the line on pay-per-views and you just have that kind of match only on TV, on TNT. That you put it in the main event when it's on the line, and that you put a lot of pressure on like a number 1 contender for that title match.
Yes, I will agree. I will agree there. It's just like when I first saw the 24/7 title, I thought it was a joke. But when I saw how many people had already won and lost it, I'm like, this is actually fun, you know. But that belt was mainly made for comedic purposes.
There's no part of that belt that makes me think that, oh man, I really wonder who's gonna win it. It's more like, oh, I wonder who's gonna pick it up from the ground today and run away with it and drop it down.
A Fox Sports commentator won.
Really?
Won the 24/7 title on a show at one point. They won it off of Elias, and then R-Truth rolled the guy up and he won again. But
I did like the Maria stuff where she beat her husband for it, and then no one could like hit her or attack her because she's a woman. And then she was a pregnant woman at that, and then she got pinned while she was going into labor.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's stupid. That's just kind of wrong, but it's kind of funny. It works.
On to the next thing, because we started talking about Maria and her husband. Her husband just asked for
his release.
He got it.
Did he get it?
He did get it. He's not there anymore. But now a news report has come out that Sin Cara has asked for his release as well. Your thoughts?
So Sin Cara, as I was looking or hearing about this like months ago, he has like kind of become a backstage kind of one of the backstage generals, as who used to say that, but like you would have generals back in the day, like Undertaker was a general, definitely like Triple H was a general, in NXT, Tommaso and Gargano are like the generals, but for the SmackDown group, it was Sin Cara, because Sin Cara is like a legitimate beat you up tough guy, where, I mean, there's stories that have come out of him beating up like number of WWE superstars that you would think are like, oh, they're tough guys, and it's like, no, he took that guy down. Oh, he took that guy down. So I would say him leaving is probably, he knows that he's not getting any more attention. He knows that he's not going to get any big push, and he can make really good money outside the WWE, and maybe not even have to work as hard and be closer to his family.
Here's the thing. I would be a lot more upset if this was...
And this isn't even the real Sin Cara. Either.
That's what I was just about to say. I would be upset if this was Mystico. Because Mystico is a legend in Mexico. He's a legend. Like, when you think of AAA, Mystico was one of the first names you thought of. But this is Hunico.
Yeah.
Hunico was known to have caused a lot of trouble backstage, too. He's been known just like you said, started fights with people and sometimes finished them.
I think that's, like, early, though, because supposedly now he, like, helps and takes care of stuff. But, I don't know, maybe I heard that wrong. So don't listen to me now on this.
I think Sin Cara was a character that they could have done so much with. And I think it goes back to what we were talking about with Vince. When he doesn't know how to market you, he automatically turns you into a clown. Just like he did with Sin Cara with the Lucha House Party.
Yeah.
Those guys are bona fide stars. You got Lindsay Dorado, who's literally been all over the world wrestling for people. And then you've got, why am I blanking on this guy's name? Kalisto.
Yeah. Kalisto is amazing in the ring performer. And all he's now known for is raising up his hands and going lucha. He used to be the U.S. When he won the U.S. title and he was feuded with Ryback way back when, I was really interested in that because you have like kind of a Rey Mysterio character versus a kind of Big Show character like we used to have. It never got the attention that I think WWE could have, but that's because WWE will not mess with its main event other than putting the toppity-top guys there.
Yes.
That's why I'm afraid of AEW getting that TV title, because it's like, if you get it, you have to have it in main event situations where it closes out the show. Put some importance behind it.
Yeah. There's just so much going on with people asking for their release, and I think it stems from a lot of people just having enough from that Saudi Arabia thing. For a lot of people, that was just the straw that broke the camel's back.
I saw another Zack Ryder tweet that said they won't let me leave. That got deleted, I think, later on. That's scary, man. When you're trapped in another country and you can't get
They
home.
won't let me leave. It's a very telling thing. And that's why I don't think we should be going over there anymore.
Oh.
I don't think we should be going over there anymore.
I mean, they're going to go over why? Because Vince loves to have more money. And if he's making that much money. And that's just like I said. That's just like, didn't I say that to you?
Yep. I said he's no. Now, very rarely am I going to get political on this show, but he's a Republican. He loves money, and that's just the end of story. But the fact of the matter is, the leadership out there loves the old-time wrestlers, but you're not going to get the old-time wrestlers anymore. No. You're not going to see Hogan get in a ring. Well, you might. That's another story.
The rumor is get into the ring.
The rumor is he's training again, but that's neither here nor there. You're not gonna see Ric Flair get into a ring. They're not gonna let Rick get into a ring. You might see Jerry Lawler get into a ring.
He's still getting in the ring. He gets in the ring on his own promotions. He still wrestles for the title.
But that's why I don't think we should be going over there. But they're gonna keep going over there as long as they keep getting a fat paycheck Saudi Arabia. And by the way, if that's what's getting Pyro back on the shows, I'll do without Pyro.
All right. So I think one of the last things we could talk about is AEW's Full Gear. Did it go too far? And that's in story of Kenny Omega versus Jon Moxley closing out the show with an unsanctioned dark match. Did you? And I know you didn't get to see Full Gear, but I'll just let you know. Full Gear was from start to finish. There's never a part where you're like, this is boring. Now, there might be parts where you're like, oh, all they're doing is spot after spot after spot. Definitely in the tag match, the tag championship match, that's what it was. In the Hangman versus Pac match, I would say they slowed it down a bit of how fast both of those guys usually go. And the Young Buck match was really fun. A lot of ring psychology, if you want to call it. The Rio match was outrageously good, too.
Yes. That's what I've heard.
She's just amazing in the ring. And the Cody Rhodes versus Chris Jericho, by far best match on the card. I enjoyed that the most. The Kenny Omega versus Jon Moxley, there was parts where I was like, just like shuddering back and holding up my shoulders like, I don't think, guys, you don't have to do that. Please don't do that. Oh, glass.
So, before, a little backstory. Ezra and I have known each other for a long time. Before, we started doing the podcasting, we talked about it a lot. But before we started, I expressed to you, I think it was the year Shinsuke and AJ had their title match at WrestleMania. I told you that match was my bathroom break. And that match should have been the most exciting thing on the card. You have Shinsuke, you have AJ. But for everyone that I've heard, including you just now, said that AEW Full Gear went all out quick. They went all out from top to bottom, and this is why I say WWE has lost sense of what they are. They're a wrestling company, but they would rather focus on the marketability of their superstars.
Yeah. And if you look at why superstars in the WWE get injured and like called out a lot, it's not necessarily because they do matches on pay-per-view or TV. It's usually because they're overworked and they're doing so many like house shows, stadiums, that's where you get your injuries. You get your injuries like just wear and tear on the body, where a AEW show runs once a week. You can have a match, and then you take that week to kind of rest up and get ready for the next match. I think that really works for them. That's just a side thing of what AEW is doing right and what WWE is like. They're falling apart because of.
I just don't want there to be that moment on AEW where we get that Owen Hart moment.
Yeah, I don't think. All right, so the Owen Hart.
I'm worried about that. I'm genuinely worried about somebody getting killed from a high spot because they.
Well, wasn't even a high spot. That was a. What's it? The pizzazz, the flamboyance, the spectacle of it, of him coming down from the roof. But the guy who had like put it together didn't put it together correctly, and they had him hooked up wrong, and all like it was a really, really bad setup for him.
Maybe that was a wrong analogy. I don't want there to be a Steve Austin moment or a Droz moment in the ring.
Yes. And you know what? I would agree that if it was going to happen, which company would it most likely to happen to? WWE or AEW?
I'd go with AEW because right now they have no limits to how far they can go in matches. I mean, to end the show of Dynamite, Moxley DDT'd Omega through a glass and wood table, which is one of the ugliest spots I've seen on live television.
Now, here's the thing about that. I would say to people that would argue against those things, your Jim Cornettes, your purists, that, yeah, maybe this isn't necessarily what you're looking for as a wrestling show, but if they're trying to stand out from the WWE, if they're trying to give audience members something that they don't get in any other company, is this working for them? And if you look at ratings of AEW versus NXT, right now it is working for them. Now, they will definitely have to, I think, swing things around and not go full, crazy mode all the time with, especially the top guys.
No, we definitely don't want to have constant balls to the wall.
Yeah.
I will issue one sort of warning to AEW. I will say that if you're not careful, you're gonna end up in the same boat where talent is gonna end up getting injured, and you're gonna end up being a watered down version of your former self.
Definitely.
You've already shown to us over the past few months what you're capable of. Now, slow it down a little bit. Let us enjoy the show.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what we're going to start getting a lot more of. Where we now have stories in place. We have storylines building. And once you start having storylines in there, you can grab people's attention other ways. But I'm still a fan of, the Young Bucks will say, yeah, we're going to go full tilt because right now we feel we physically can do that. I am scared that, you'll have a moment where they know that they can't do that and they keep trying to do it. When that becomes a problem, then, yeah, you got to stop. But if you feel like it's okay and you feel like it's a comfortable risk, then I think to stand out, to bring more eyes, to make more money, yeah, go ahead.
All right. Ezra, I'm going to let you start with closing remarks, and then I'm going to give a closing remark.
Okay. I will close by saying, as a CM Punk fan, I am very happy that CM Punk is back. And we'll see what happens. I'm excited.
As am I. I will close by saying it was reported that Eric Bischoff does not want to be a part of AEW. Good move. Good move.
Don't want him there.
Easy, your commentary was not that great. His age really showed when he went to TNA and did the whole thing with Immortal. Bischoff plays favorites. It's very blatant. Bischoff plays favorites with the people he works for, and there's no room in the business for that.
Yeah.
But guys, I want to thank you. We want to thank you for watching the Talking Bumps segment of the show. Now we're gonna get to filming Talking Lumps. Actually, taking. Sorry, Taking Lumps will be live. Taking Lumps will be live. And Talking Bumps will go up later. So please watch, please subscribe, enjoy the show. Let me know in the comment section below, if we hit every single point this week. I'm making a promise to Ezra that I'm gonna watch AEW this week.
Please.
Promise, so I'm not gonna
I still think it's the best show on television, American television right now.
You're probably right, but I promise to watch because I want to be as informed as you are when talking about all this stuff. So that's all we got for today. We're gonna do Taking Lumps right now. We hope to see you there. Peace, guys. Too sweet.